Sometimes the best way to really get a handle on the future is to just zoom in on a single moment in time. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to piece together the future of AI by looking at the news from one hypothetical day. Let's jump ahead to October 1st, 2026, and see what it has to tell us. It's the big question, right? It's on everyone's mind. We see all these headlines every single day about new models, new rules, new breakthroughs. But what are the deep down fundamental forces that are really driving this thing forward? Where is this train actually going? Well, believe it or not, the answer might be hidden in the news from just one single day. These stories aren't random. Think of them like puzzle pieces. And when you put them together, they reveal three core forces that are shaping, well, everything. So let's start with the first one, which is arguably the most powerful force of them all. And that first force, it's money. But I don't just mean a lot of money. We are talking about an almost unimaginable amount of capital that's needed to build the very foundation of what's next in AI. Just look at this number, $400 billion. That's the rumored valuation OpenAI is going after in a new funding round. To put that into perspective for you, that is more than the GDP of a lot of countries. So why? Why on earth would one single company need that much capital? And here's why. It's all right here. See, it's not just about writing clever code anymore. This is about funding and, I quote, the astronomical costs of compute and energy infrastructure. We're talking about building gigantic, power-hungry data centers on a global scale. This is the real physical price tag for creating intelligence. And it's not just OpenAI in a vacuum. On the exact same day, news breaks that Microsoft and Google are signing these enormous deals to build what they call sovereign AI clouds in Saudi Arabia and the UAE. What does that mean? Well, essentially, they're massive localized data centers that let a country control its own AI development and, crucially, its own data. This is a huge asset for national security and economic power now. It just goes to show you this is a global race for physical infrastructure. The fuel is flowing all over the world. So, with all that fuel pouring in, what's it actually powering? Let's move to our second big theme and see how this is all building into a fierce, two-front competition for AI supremacy. It's a battle that's being fought in both the digital world and, yep, the physical world. On one front, you have the race for the brains. Companies like Anthropic are pushing the limits, trying to create ever more powerful digital minds. And then on the other front, you've got the race for the body. Companies like Figure are working to give those minds a physical form, something that can actually move around and interact with our world. So let's dive into the brains front for a second with Anthropic's rumored Claude 4. Now, the key thing here isn't just about building a bigger model, it's about making it smarter in very specific ways. We're talking a new standard in logical reasoning and way better reliability in its long context window, which is basically its memory. Its ability to process a super long document or have a really long conversation without forgetting what you were talking about at the beginning. This is a direct shot across the bow, pushing what these digital minds can actually do. And then, over on the physical front, you have Figure 03. And look, this isn't some far-off science fiction dream. This is a straight-up business plan. They build the body, then they teach it to understand space with multimodal AI, which is just a fancy way of saying they teach the robot to see and understand the world using vision and language together, kind of like we do. And then they put it to work in places like car factories. The takeaway is this: the embodiment of AI is officially moving out of the lab and into the real economy. Okay, so you have all this money and all this crazy innovation moving at lightning speed. You know a reaction is coming, right? It's just inevitable. And that brings us to our third and final force, the creation of a global rulebook. Society is finally starting to set the terms for how this powerful tech can actually be used. And right at the heart of this new rulebook is this term, synthetic media. On our hypothetical day in 2026, the EU AI Act's rules officially kick in. And what it means is pretty simple. If an AI made it, doesn't matter if it's an image, a video, even text, it has to be labeled. Full stop. This is a massive, massive step toward transparency in a world that's quickly filling up with AI-generated stuff. And make no mistake, these are not just suggestions. I mean, look at the difference in scale here. The potential fines under the EU AI Act, up to 7% of a company's global revenue, they absolutely dwarf previous tech regulations. This shows you that regulators are putting real teeth, real financial muscle behind these rules to force companies to take transparency and safety seriously. So let's pull back. What does it all mean when you put it together? What we have here is a collision of three immense forces. You've got the fuel and the fight, the money and the innovation, moving at this incredible speed, while the framework of rules is trying to catch up and put up some guardrails. So, when we put all those puzzle pieces from our one day in the future together, the picture becomes crystal clear. The future of AI isn't being shaped by the technology alone. It's this dynamic interplay, this dance between three giant forces. The fuel, which is that massive capital investment. The fight, that intense competition for better brains and better bodies. And the framework, the societal and legal rules that we're trying to build around it all. And that leaves us with one final, really critical question. As these three forces, capital, competition, and control, continue to slam into each other, which one is going to have the final say? Right now, it sure seems like innovation is outpacing regulation, but for how long? How we answer that question isn't just going to define the future of AI, it is going to define the world that all of us are about to live in.